is a true heartwarming story about a girl whose parents foresaw her becoming beautiful and called her Mona Lisa. But she grew up to be not only beautiful, but also brave and courageous too. This is the story of Mona Lisa Abado, the first Arab Israeli to enlist to the Israeli army, who is now on her way to becoming a combat officer.
Scott.
It's not every day that you meet such an impressive young woman, a woman who had the courage to go where no Arab Israeli woman has ever gone before. She did the unthinkable for most of her community and decided to enlist to service with the Israeli Defense Forces.
My name is Mona Lisa. I'm from Haifa in Kiryat Haim. I'm 20 years old and I'm a commander in IDF. It was important to me to give back to my country, Israel.
Only when you realize how rare it is in Israel what Abado did, you can grasp the big breakthrough she has made.
It's interesting, I mean, both in Mona Lisa's cases and other cases around the IDF, when you meet the soldiers, particularly the soldiers who come from backgrounds that don't generally get drafted into the IDF, you see a sense of motivation. And you got this with the people who moved to Israel to join, and also from people like Mona Lisa, where they realize that the cause that they're fighting for is a higher cause, and the soldiers that are around them all get influenced by it as well. It gives this boost of motivation because it's kind of a reminder of ideology and how ideology can push you to do the right things.
Abado comes from an Arab Christian Israeli family. She grew up in a suburb of Haifa. After graduating from elementary school, she decided she wants to go to a Jewish school, and with her mother's support, both her and her sister got into a Jewish school. Upon graduating, it was the most natural thing for her to enlist to the army like all her Jewish high school friends.
When
I enlisted to the army, I hoped that something was going to change, that more people from my community will enlist. There are a lot of Arab Christian men that really want to enlist. There are, of course, the Bedouin Battalion, who are also Arabs and enlist. I support that all Arab Israelis should contribute and enlist in the army.
We can't get into specifics. I could say there are a couple of hundred Muslim and Bedouins that are serving in the IDF and a couple of thousand Druze. Right now there's existing mechanisms to make sure that they can serve. If you look at the Druze soldiers, there's two major combat battalions that they serve in the Southern Command, what they call Kharif Battalion, and in the scouting unit along the southern border. So what you essentially have is a military combat unit that'll stop 3 times a day for organized prayers. It's really taking steps to make sure that we can maximize integration while still letting each person's individual beliefs and individual principles be manifested on a day-to-day basis.
There is no doubt that Mona Lisa Abado wants her message to be heard loud and clear and isn't afraid to speak her mind out to whoever will listen to her.
I really don't think Israel is an occupying force. This is our home. According to the history books, we are supposed to be here. We won, we fought for this place, and this country is ours. There is nothing to do no matter what people will insist on claiming. I really have never felt any prejudice against me in Israel. I live amongst Jews, I study amongst Jews, I serve amongst Jews. My friends are Jewish, and I really don't feel any different. My message is that I want everyone to come and contribute to the army and will feel part of this country. Just like they like to receive from the country benefits, they should also feel obligated to give back too, because if we won't serve our country, we eventually won't have a country, and we have no other home. And if there will ever be a different regime here, we won't have an existence here. This is what I know, this is what I believe.
And as the question about the equality of the burden in the Israeli society takes center stage, a story like Mona Lisa's proves that it is possible to do the right thing even when not forced to do so by law. For JN1, I'm Jacobsohn in Jerusalem.